First of all, before we say anything, I respect that you're up at 7 a.m. I respect that this is your passion before your work. I think that's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
I wanted to do that. And if I and just in context now for anybody, if I look this way, he's over here. This is my iPhone being used as a camera. So I'm gonna do my best to look this way, but I will be talking to you over here sometimes.
Yeah. Which is fine. This is called multi-view. Like this is us like figuring out how to do it's the real mind trick for Gus coming on the show, trying to do cameras in one stage and then I'm on another screen. It is a mind trick. That's why I never do it like that because I can't manage. Like I will definitely be looking at it all different directions if that happens.
Yeah, you know what? And this is I'm still learning too. So you know what? I'll look back at this interview and be like, this is dumb, or you know, what? And maybe if it's that bad, I'll have to come on again. You know what I mean? Who knows?
Well, even if it's good, bad, or ugly, you can still come back on the show. And to be honest, if it's dumb and it's fun, it's good. It doesn't really matter. I'm not going to rate this on like how intellectually stimulating was this. I'm just going to be like, hey, was it fun? That's pretty much how the podcast goes. But for anyone who's just jumped into it in the middle of a conversation that Gus and I are in, I've obviously got the great Gus Glasser has come through. I've been excited about getting him on the show. Yeah. I love the personality. Like as soon as I saw and listened to your music, I was like, man, this is someone I got to have on the show. And then when we interacted, I was like, I'm really happy with my decision. But you would have seen his most recent singles, Skates, All I Can Do Is My Best, which actually is the perfect attitude for you. Fried, Chilling with the Homies, and Upper Peninsula. It's been a really busy year. And then you've got albums in 2023. And yeah, man, I love that you're constantly putting out music.
Thank you. Thank you. I was excited because I listened to your other episodes, and I think you're a great interviewer. And I think I listened to your La Russell episode, I listened to your Code of the Friend episode, and I listened to Brandon. I hadn't heard of Brandon before, but that was like the most recent episode at the time. So I listened to that, and I was very impressed, and it just made me more excited to come on and get to know you and talk to you. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, it feels like I have to perform for you now because you've done the research and you've listened to some random podcasts. But yeah, my La Russell interview was so long ago. It almost feels like I am a different person by that time. I think that was episode 100. It's been like 200 plus now, so it's like halfway through the journey that we were at. But yeah, man, I've been excited about this for a long time.
Thanks.
Well, let me ask you, because I think you're so interesting in the sense of like when I was reading your bio, it feels like you're unfiltered. Like, and that's what I get the energy from you from, and that's what I get in your music. Like, it feels like you've done work to just like let yourself be whoever you are, and there's just no shame, there's no holding back, and there's something freeing, and there's something that is drawing about that. Because I think in the world that we live, you don't see that very often. It feels like everyone's trying to put in this image of like, hey, this is what I want you to believe I am. And I just feel like you're just like, hey, I am who I am. And if you like me, you like me. And if you don't, well, you can not listen.
Yeah, totally. No, I don't, you know, it's just always been me. It doesn't feel like I've taken work to do that. In some, like, there's been some details in my life or something that I've had to get over, that I've had to accept and like share, but it's never been work. It's more been the opposite. It's like I've actually worked to try to be something else, and it just never resonated, or it never like perfect example. I, you know, would try to make beats for other artists, and like no one's.
Sorry, I'm gonna cut you off quickly because your mic is cutting in and out a little bit.
Okay. No, thank you for cutting me off. Okay, let's try. All right, I guess the recorded version is still good. Thank you for letting me know. Let's try this. Is that better now?
I think it's, yeah, to be honest, your best audio version was when you were recording without the mic.
Okay, screw the mic. Okay, hold on. Or at least we can have the conversation without the mic.
Yeah.
Record it with the mic. Okay, give me 1 second. Sorry about that.
No, all good.
How's this? Is that better?
Can you speak again for me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, and then what if we just did this? Hold on. What if we just got rid of this other? What if we just did this? What if we just went back to the most basic setup of all time?
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
That works.
Well, I got this mic still's recording, so I'm gonna keep recording.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll just talk like this. How's that?
Yeah, let's just talk like that. You can send me your recording independently, and we'll go from there.
Cool. I tried. God damn it, we tried.
Hey, all you can do is your best.
That's all I can do. That's all I can do. So, that's so funny. No, so to answer your question, it felt like work to do the opposite. And so I just like I said, I was selling beats. No one really wanted my beats. I'd sell here, a couple there. So I was just like, screw it. I'll hop on it. Like, I'll just sing on it. Like, I like these. I think that there's something here. And like, that's a good example of just like me trying. I'm not like I don't think I'm like a sexy R&B singer. Like, some people like have that mystery to them, or some people can pull that look off or can pull that factor off. I just never felt like I could do that. So, and I spend 100% of my day just like doing whatever I think is funny, or doing whatever I think is good, or doing whatever I think is interesting, and just following that. And that's just turned into what it is.
But it's weird. Sex appeal isn't like there are so many people where if you had looked at them objectively, you'd be like, you're not that sexy. But there's something about them that kind of becomes like they become the image of something different. I don't know. I think sex appeal is given from people who like you in a weird way. It's like they're like, oh, that they listen to your music, or they like your personality, and they're like, it's not maybe traditionally handsome, but there's something sexy about this person. I feel like that happens quite a bit especially in music. Like, you see these people and you're like, if I saw you down the street, I probably wouldn't think twice. And then just because I know who you are, I'm like, there's something to you. So I think that maybe you're just being critical of yourself.
Well, I'm not saying that I'm not attractive. I'm just saying that like I'm not gonna. It's not authentic to me to be like the sexy R&B singer. You know what I mean? Like, to be like the mysterious, like, you know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah, like the smoldering kind of like, like silent type.
Like, I don't know. Like, there's just certain artists that like, I think some people pull it off. Like, they can pull off the like pictures of them looking cool, and like you don't really know much about them, and like they're just like this like mysterious thing, and that's just never been like what's resonated with me. Like, my entire career is just me thinking an idea. The reason why it's authentic is because I think all I do is just things that I think are interesting. Like, I've done so many things that are total flops, but I think that they're fun, so I just do them.
Well, isn't it funny though that like, because if you didn't have the flops, you wouldn't have the successes. So like the weird thing is, and I think a lot of people go through the challenges of like, I want to do this, but I'm scared of it not being successful, and so they don't do it. And then they're so scared of getting flops, or they're so scared of getting bad critiques, or they're scared of things not working out, that they just stop trying new things altogether, and they just sit in the lane, and it's just not creative. It's not artistry anymore. And it just feels weird when artists stop going and trusting their instinct.
Yeah, I mean, I had a big phase like that earlier this year. Like, I got in such a place of fear that I stopped creating, and it made me miserable. And I had to take some time away from like posting and away from making music to evaluate and understand why I'm doing this.
Why did you think that happened?
Well, because I was putting so much expectations on this career being this thing and turning out the way I wanted and making money. I'm the type of guy that freezes. Like, you know, that fight, flight, freeze, fix response, you know?
Yeah.
I'm a freeze. I avoid. Like, that's a lot of my struggles. And I got things, my posts weren't doing well, my songs weren't doing well, like nothing was doing well. And like, I felt like this, like my streams were going down, and I was just like, I felt so rejected and discouraged. And because I was putting expectations on it not to be that way. And when those expectations weren't being met, I felt like I was miserable. And so I had to spend some time like detaching from that and going back to a place of this may not work out. Maybe this shouldn't be the career that I want, or not necessarily that, but maybe I shouldn't force it to be this thing. Like, I shouldn't force myself to have to get 1 million streams a month, or I shouldn't force myself to post every single day if that's not what's going to make me happy. I should just do what I want creatively and not put expectations on it. And then since then, I just feel like so free.
Yeah.
I feel like I just feel so free. That's all I can say.
Have you changed your expectations, or have you changed your standards, or like, where do you think the change is now?
I think the expectations, I think, and this is funny enough, like, I took more hours in my remote job so that I don't have to put the pressure of this making money. For now, like, I'm still like earning from it, and I think that the expectations around the money, I think, was big, and the attention, and that, that's the biggest thing of like, I don't have to, like, I just never felt like, because I tried to do, I don't know, I look at so many artists and I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they put out music consistently and content consistently and feel good about it and like throw that many darts at the wall. Like, I just never, going back to the original point, that hasn't resonated with me. And so I'm trying to figure out what resonates with me, what's authentic to me. And the change is, one, focusing more on the music than the content. Two, I think not being so concerned about money, or not being so concerned about money to the point where I'm like, I have to post every day or else I'm not going to gain fans or this, you know what I mean? Those are the kind of the two big ones that I've evaluated on.
Do you think they're all happy though?
Those artists?
Yeah. Do you think they're all happy with what they're doing?
I don't know. Some are. Some are and some not. You know what I mean? That's not for me to say. I can't say. I just know that I tried doing what they do. I didn't because I thought that was how I was going to get to the place I wanted to be. And in that process, one, I didn't even get there. Two, I was just miserable in that process because I was so tied to it and so attached. And maybe they are happy. I'm sure that there's people out there making content consistently and making music and really focusing on content, and they're really happy.
Sometimes I think they're addicted to it.
Absolutely. For sure.
And because of that, I don't know how happy they really are. Like, I very rarely meet people in my life, and then non-artists and non-musicians, most of the people I hang out with, who are on social media regularly and happy. Those two things seem to be very rare to go hand in hand. And I feel like when you're obsessed with this fake world, which is what it is, you lose touch with reality, and then your critique for what life really is lost. It's like you become obsessed with this fake reality, and then when you live normal reality, you're not really in it anymore, because you're like, oh, I can live this moment, or I can take a shot and I can film it and I can put it on, and I'm like, you're just living in a different world at that point. I think there is a part of it that I think they have to project an image of I'm happy posting, because let's be honest, no one would consume their content if they were miserable posting. They'd be like, then stop. But I think there is this piece where like so many people feel like they have to do that. And you've obviously realized that you don't have to, because it's fucking depressing and it's tough and it just doesn't give you what you want from your art. But I think a lot of people just do it purely because they think they have to. They see one person succeeding off of it and they're like, now I have to do that too.
Yeah, I think two things. One, I agree with you. Like, it is addicting. Like, I've dealt with my freaking addictions. Like, it's the same nerve, you know? And it's taken a long time it's taken a lot of practice, let's put it that way, to manage it. And then two, you said something nice. It's like, at the end of the day, it was suffering the art. And that's what hurt me the most. And I do enjoy making content. There are things that I love about it, but it's not my full-time job right now. And I don't want it to be. When I want it to be, I will make it my full-time job. But yeah, it's very, I don't know, it's tough to manage. And oh, sorry. So there was something else to say. It's like that path of consistent content, consistent art, that path that blueprint at least is very available and very known, at least at this point, if you're really paying attention. The path of blowing up off your music is a lot more nebulous now, and it doesn't seem possible. And I don't see a lot of people just, really succeeding in a career by only making great music. And so that scares me. But I think there's something there for me, and I have to chase that now.
Why do you think that is harder now? Because that wasn't the case 20 years ago, that you could make a great album and you could have a career that lasted decades based on albums.
Yeah, well, I know I was talking about this with a lot of friends. It's like because the product isn't music anymore. Like and I've been thinking about this a lot and just watching a lot of interviews of like people who've been in the industry for a long time. The product is no longer the music. So before, when you made a great product, people bought the product and you could live off the sale of that product. Now, it's hard to live off the sale of that product. And it's not necessarily about having the best product anymore. And so I think I don't know. I don't know why. I think saturation, I think lack of depth. I think that's a big one, lack of depth. That I don't think there's a lot of depth. That's where I felt, whereas like I felt like I had to do 4 full-time jobs to get my name out there, and I just felt like I was lacking at all of them.
Yeah.
And so I don't know why it's harder to blow off new music now. I don't know.
I think I agree with you though. I think it is because music's no longer the product. I think it's been commoditized to a point where like you can buy it for $12 a month and you can have access to everyone's infinite library, and it makes the value of what you've purchased virtually zero. Like that's like that is ridiculous. You used to have to buy an album for $20 and you could only own the album for $20. Now you're paying $12 a month or whatever the hell you're paying a month, and I get everyone's album. Like it's crazy how little money you spend to be able to consume everyone's music. And then of course, like if everyone's only paying $12 a month and they're getting everyone's music, who's actually making money off that? Like you just have to do the maths. Even if you have $1 billion coming through that industry or through that app, you're like, well, that's split across how many fucking people? So of course there are artists who can't make money, and it's attention garnering now. It's like, now it's an attention game, which I don't know, it still feels weird. Like I miss the days of, Kendrick, I think does the best at it, where he goes away for months, years at a time and doesn't release music. And then he drops an album and everyone's like, this is what I wanted. But the days of like that being regular, the outcasts of your world, the ability of artists to take their time to make projects, that era feels so long ago.
You know what? This is a bold prediction, but I think it's kind of coming back. I think both exist simultaneously because you still have people blowing up off their music. You know what I mean? It's still happening. Like, Chappell Roan's a great example. I think Chappell Roan's a great example. I think that, who's another great example? Like people blowing up off their music. Like, we're talking, A-list wise, like that's, like to me, that seems irrelevant because you don't need that to have a career anymore. That kind of used to be all or nothing. It felt like now it's not. But there's a lot of artists that are making a considerable, have a couple 100,000 monthly listeners, and they have their music really carrying the weight. And so that it's just not as showcased because it's not on socials. But I think to me, there's a big difference with the artists I listen to and the artists I watch.
Yeah. Well, I think there's also a difference between 100,000, 200,000 loyal fans or 1 million streams that are pushed in marketing spend. Like, there is a big difference. And like, if you have 100,000 loyal fans and they're buying merch off your music, they're buying your albums, they're buying like the things that are really like in your tight-knit community that you can create, that's to me what a long-term career of music comes in. And then hopefully it builds from 100 to 200 to 300 to a million at some point.
But to your point though, if we're talking, the classic like like the classic trope of like have 1,000 fans pay $100.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, like, but before that used to be music, right? You could just buy the music and be okay. Now it's, you gotta have merch, you gotta, sell, get a brand, have 1,000 fans pay for a ticket, pay for this, pay for that. It's like that's more than just, I mean, not live shows, but that's a whole nother industry to make money in. But like, now you got to buy this or buy that or buy this Patreon or buy this subscription and buy, you got to, it's like when the music maybe makes up like $1 or $3 or $5 of that 100. So that's why as a career, that's why I started, like, I just like, I don't know, man. It just doesn't, I don't know. Something about it just doesn't really resonate with me. Something about the way to do it, that's the blueprint now, just isn't really resonating with me internally. And I have to listen to that or I will be miserable.
Well, I also think if everyone does it, it's no longer a blueprint because everyone does it. Like, there's only so much attention out there in the world. There's only, like, I don't know. I think your strategy and your decision to do it your way is the right decision. I definitely think that you just listening to yourself and you just going, hey, I wasn't enjoying it when I was doing it that way. And now I'm going back to a place where I enjoy it. I think that's the most important part. Like, if you don't like what you're doing, Gus, then how is a fan supposed to like what you're doing?
Totally. Especially if my whole brand is doing what I love.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you know what I mean? I can't, like, and I yeah. So that's, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
But I have to say, like, it must be freeing now to accept that. Like, you must feel extraordinarily, like, almost liberated in a way that you went through the rabbit hole of shit and now you're back into a place where you're like, oh, I'm doing it on my terms again. Well,
it's not, nothing's forever. I'm still afraid. I'm still expecting this thing. You know what I mean? I'm still, this past weekend was 2 weekends ago. I was like fucking so frustrated and lost. It, like, you know what I mean? Like, nothing's set in stone.
Yeah.
Nothing's set in stone.
I mean, but you've been doing this for a while also.
I've been doing this a long time. I guess you know how old I am. But how old are you? Wait, let me guess.
Yeah, please.
33?
Nah, I'm 30.
30? Okay, let's go. All right, I'm in the ballpark.
Yeah, you're around the mark.
So, I mean, dude, like, clearly I wouldn't be doing it this long if I didn't enjoy it. Like, I don't know how deep you went back, but it's been a long time that I've been doing this.
Well, I mean, I know that, you've been around, like, you learned the piano at, like, what was it, 8? You wanted to quit, I think I read. And so that was like the beginning of your journey. And then, yeah, because what are you now, 25? 25. Yeah. So, like, it's weird. I know that you were making music before you started releasing music also. So that's the other weird thing to me is, like, you release your first song in like 2011 or whatever. And then I know that you were recording before that point anyway. So it's not really the right timeline of, like, how long you've been making music. So yeah, I typically add like two years before that, or 3 years. And then you've been, it's been over a decade. I know that much.
I think I released music. Like, my first thing on YouTube was like in 2014, I think. I think that was like my first ever like song I put out or whatever. And then it just spiraled from there.
Yeah. Yeah. I see. That's actually the thing that I find fascinating is what in the world makes people decide to, I'm going to put this out there. Like, that is a huge leap of faith to take at some point where it's like, because it's a transition from I'm doing it at home, I'm doing it in a safe space, I'm doing it with, like, I feel content. And then there's something inside that says, I should put it out. And I've always wondered what that is.
Well, I think to your point, like, I was putting things out before I was putting things out. So I was like performing as a kid. I was doing talent shows. I've always been that. You know what I mean? Kindergarten. I have a distinct memory of kindergarten of playing for Elise for like my class. So it's like I was putting things out before I was putting things out.
Yeah.
So it didn't feel like any. I don't even remember putting it out. It's just there.
Really?
Now, you know what I mean? I remember it was a remix contest. And so, obviously there's a deadline and you have to put things out to get submitted for the contest. So I think that's what pushed me over the edge there. But it hasn't felt like a leap of faith. It's just been like what I've been doing. Like,
have your parents always known that this is something you would do?
Yeah. Early on, they were like, he's got something. I remember, I think they were six. I was six. Like they knew I was good at piano and instruments and stuff like that. But like, as far as like my original music, I remember like they told me, or like, I heard some story like maybe years later, or like they were like, when I was like 16 or 17, they heard something and they were like, oh, this is really good. I was like, hell yeah. Thank you.
Did they not tell you at the time?
No, they always have. I just didn't know, like, there was like a moment.
Yeah.
Apparently there was like a moment that like they were like, oh, this is actually really good. Or there was like a song, I forget which one. But there was they've seen it.
That's really cool to be able to say.
I would not be where I'm at without that.
Yeah.
Without their support, without their love, without like their encouragement, like without their like financial support too. Like they've helped out financially with my career. Like I would not be where I'm at without them.
Yeah. I think that's so awesome to say. Like to be able to be like, I have love and family behind me. Not everyone is as fortunate. I've spoken to a lot of people who don't have that. And it's like, and I am as amazed by their careers as I am of your careers. Cause like everyone's like, it's different. Every artist is different. It comes from a different place. And so I'm always like, it doesn't really matter your background in the sense of like, I don't know, there's something to me about like music is one of the unique industries where you have a voice no matter where you come from.
Totally.
That's what's the best part about it.
I think I agree. I mean, look, like I can't imagine doing it without that. I mean, my brother like still comes to every show. Like we were on tour and he flew out to where we were playing and like he brought his friends, like every, like those streams that I've been doing every week, like he was like, hey, I'll help you produce these streams.
That's awesome.
It's like, dude, I cannot thank my family enough or my friends. Like it's the same level of support. Like,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, I just can't say it enough. And I know, from do you feel like in your community and your friends, like I remember early on when I listened to you, like you said you didn't have a lot of people to talk to about your love of this genre and your love of like, this world. And do you feel like you have more of that now?
Not necessarily about the genre. Even like I know for a fact, like my girlfriend isn't into hip hop at all. Like, but there's something about it. Well, there's something about it to me it's almost more special knowing that there are a lot of close people in my life who are not necessarily into the genre, but they're still supportive of me doing what I do. It almost is better that way, because then when I step away from this, I actually don't feel like I'm working still. I don't feel like I'm having this conversation multiple times throughout the day, and it makes our interaction, like me and you, significantly more special to me because I'm not replicating it throughout my life. There's a clear delineation of when I'm with you versus when I'm with my partner or when I'm with like my family. So they're supportive of me doing the podcast and they've always been supportive of that. But when it comes to my love of hip hop, are they as supportive? Not necessarily. My brothers are I've got a couple of friends who are like super into hip hop. So I've got people in my life that are like, I can talk to about it. And I can't help myself sometimes when a song comes on that I'm playing in my car and my girlfriend's there and I'm like, well, let me tell you about this song. I can't help that. That's just part of dating me. That's the life of dating me. But I do enjoy being able to separate. Yeah.
No, also really quickly, I just want to say we're both wearing shirts of ourselves. I just want to say this. I just want to bring this to the attention of both of us that we're both doing this.
Well, I think everyone should have a shirt of themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Because I had a guest once who was like, fuck, I should have worn the shirt of myself. And I was like, missed opportunity. Gus didn't miss.
it. I don't miss.
Never.
No, I agree. I was thinking about that same thought today where it's like, I know a lot of musicians who like gig for a living, and I've tried that. And like, when I say gig, I mean, they do like wedding bands, like cover gigs, like they fill in for piano for people. And it's like, I've never resonated with that because, you know, when I was done practicing for the gig or done playing the gig, I didn't want to do more music.
Yeah.
Like, so like now when it's like my remote job, when I'm finished, I'm so energized to like create.
Yeah.
And rather than like feeling drained and having to create, you know what I mean? So like, I don't know. I think the more I just accept about myself of like what I really like and what I really want, the happier I am. Like, even if that means like this career doesn't work out like how I thought it would, or if I never become as big as I thought I could be, or like whatever, you know, like I think I'm just working through that.
Well, I think it's a healthy thing to recognize because like at the end of the day, you want to have the energy for the thing that you want to have energy for. And so if you know that these other things take away energy from where your focus is, then you shouldn't do those things as much. Like there's someone that I met I've known him for a long time, and he like, I know he spoke to me about hip hop because he knows that's what I'm into, but it made me feel very uncomfortable because it was like out of context, and it was like out of like, I'm not used to not talking about hip hop unless we're in this format, weirdly enough at the moment, but it just didn't feel as good. It made me feel strange. And I was just like, I don't want to talk about this. Like, I'm not in that setting. I'm not in that headspace. And so when people try to draw me into that headspace when I'm not prepared, I'm kind of like, nah, I want to fuck around and talk about other shit. And like, I don't know. I think people think that, I'm sure all you want to talk about is music. And it's like, I think about music all the time. Like, I do want to have different conversations. Otherwise it'd do my head in.
Totally. Absolutely. That's how I feel about content. And like I love content. I love talking about it. I love learning about it, but it's already an obsession. Like I don't, like, I need other things. I need other things.
Yeah. So yeah, come up to us. You can talk to us about our podcast, or my podcast and your music, or you can talk about whatever the fuck you want to talk about. Like, I find that infinitely more interesting. Random conversations, random tangents. Like, yeah, that's where the juice is.
As long as I'm learning something, I don't care what it is, really. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care what we talk about. If it's like, if I'm learning something and I'm like, oh, I never thought about things that way. Like I'm it. Like, that's kind of that's what I want. Like when I talk to somebody or when I read something, it's like, I just want to learn something. That's what I came in. That's what I like. That's what I'd love to do.
That's such a good mindset. What was the last thing you learned?
Ooh, good question. Good question. Oh, today I learned the chords for a song called Just Friends by Kool and the Gang. And like, I can nerd out on you for it if you want me to.
Yeah, please.
Okay. All right. Well, man, let me see if I can can you hear that? If I play this, will you hear it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So basically, like, what I thought was really interesting was that, like, first of all, it's such a good song. It's called Just Friends by Kool and the Gang. There's a moment where the voice leading, between the two hands and the melody is different. And it's like the bass is going down and the voice leading is doing this really cool thing where it's like going up and going down. I thought that was an interesting juxtaposition. And so it sounds like this, like,
oh, I can't hear that.
Probably can't hear that.
No, but
it's in the microphone at least a little bit. Basically, I transcribed the chords to that song, and that's what I learned today. I had a company meeting that I just kind of gained some perspective on, where like the boss was just like, "Hey, I learned that I kind of like needed to be more empathetic to other departments that I was picking up slack for, and just like understand where people were coming from, and like that was good to hear. That was important to hear." What about you?
I haven't. Well, today, it's still morning to me. So other than this conversation,
that's right.
But something, because as you've listened, I also have a corporate career. So something that I've been working on in my corporate career is how to lead people with empathy, but also with direction. And by having standards and not letting people get away with shit, but also on how to be a present and sympathetic and empathetic manager. Those are things that are typically challenging for me of how to do both. I'm very goal oriented. That's how my mind typically works, is goal tasks. Like, I want to achieve these things. And then softening is the brush that I need to continue adding to the perspective. And so my boss yesterday was like, hey, you've been doing a good job of like managing those two things and like working on it. Cause I lent too hard on results focused for a portion of time. And it's really difficult. People are complicated, and they also need empathy, but they also need structure. They need boundaries. And it's like, oh, it's a minefield. Like, sometimes when I talk about it, I'm like, I've got no idea what the fuck I'm doing.
Well, dude, we're like young enough to be given a space to figure it out. Like,
yeah.
And that's funny enough, because like that's what I wanted to talk to you about, because like I do sales. Like that's like my part-time job is sales, and like I know that's where your background is. Like, I think that there's something I genuinely find it interesting. I clearly enjoy talking to people. Clearly, I enjoy talking to people. The job is talking to people. You're just managing like how you're basically trying to pitch this thing to a certain person. Like, that's all you're doing. And I love like making random ass jokes, like to catch people off guard.
Yeah.
Like,
I've always said, like, and you probably have the same thing with your personality, but I've always said that if I can get a customer to laugh, I feel like I've got a deal there. That's always been my telltale, that they're relaxed enough to laugh. I'm like, okay, I can sell to this person. If they can't laugh at my jokes, it's tougher.
That's my roommate, Billy, by the way.
What's up, Billy?
He's a dope artist. He's a dope artist as well. I'll send you his stuff.
Yeah, please do.
Bye, Billy.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Billy. But yeah, I've always thought if I can make you laugh, you're relaxed enough to then buy off me. That's always been my own kind of thing. So I've always said to people, you got to find that version for you.
Totally. I like, it's because I'm an appointment setter, and I have to call a lot of CEOs, so it's hard. I like making the receptionist laugh, because like they don't really like give a shit. And like, I'm like, one recently was like, there was a guy I was talking to named Ismail. Maybe I have to bleep. Maybe I don't know. His name was Ismail, and I was like, I need to send Ismail an email, and then the receptionist was like, laughed. It was just like dumb.
That's good.
I don't think anything came of it. Like, I just thought it was funny. But making a CEO laugh, like when you're trying to, I believe in the product too, which also helps. Like, I'm not selling anything I don't believe in. Like, I, you know.
So are you an ADR?
So I don't know what that is.
Okay. So ADR, like it's like BDR. So there's, we're heading down a different mine, a different.
I know this is not what you wanted for the podcast. I just wanted to let you know that I'm excited to talk to you about this, because it's a recent like part of my life that's developing, and I find it interesting.
I don't mind. Like I said, I don't plan these shows for a reason. Otherwise, I wouldn't let this happen. Literally, you can do that. I don't give a fuck. But so BDR, because they're outbound, essentially appointment setters. It's like short, quick discovery, and then you set it up for the AE to essentially do a formal sales cycle. Almost, you're qualifying people in or out for the sale.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's a tough job, man.
What?
It's tough because you get a lot of rejection.
But I don't care. They're not rejecting me.
That's true, but I will say it is still tough. Like, because you make a lot of dials and you speak to a lot of people, and the grind gets you sometimes. Like, you can make 50 dials and you're like, I got nothing from it. And that challenge is very real.
That is real. No, that part is more exhausting than the beginning. No, I mean, like, one, like, essentially I'm getting paid to tell them to say no. Like, people, they're paying me so that people tell me no.
Yeah. That's
essentially what it is. And so I don't mind that. It feels no different than putting myself out there in every other way in my life. You know what I mean? I enjoy the people that I work for a lot. But yeah, like the amount is a lot too. And that's why it's part-time. And like, that's what's really nice about it.
Do you think you'd go further in that career?
I don't know. That's why, you know what? I'm keeping my options open, because what's really nice is, I'm doing a session tonight. I did a podcast with you. I played piano. I walked around my neighborhood. I have a little like keyboard that's like battery powered that I that I walk around my neighborhood with and like write songs on. So it's like,
Man, being your friend would be so entertaining.
I gotta be honest. I'm a fun guy. I'm a good one. I'm a good one. Like, dude, I like I said, man, this is why I was looking forward to this, bro. Like, I know you can carry you hold the conversation well. But I can see myself developing in it long term. It doesn't, like, if music doesn't work out how I need it to, that's okay. But if I don't give it the energy that it deserves, then I will be upset. And like, yeah, like I'm also like paying off some debts right now. Like that's why I'm like working really hard within that. Because the stress of that and like not making money was just like too much.
Yeah.
So it's nice to like just at least be able to breathe and tread water and like know that like I'm paying off like my family and my credit cards like at a very, very good rate. So
yeah, it's weird because it's the catch-22. It's like if you don't give the music the space you want, you will regret not doing it. But on the flip side, you're like, oh, I could see a career in front of me that's corporate. It's not as sexy by any means, but you can be very successful and you can make a lot of money and you can live a life that you really do want to live. Like I've definitely noticed that in sales is people are making insane money that are setting them up, their family up for the rest of their lives.
yeah, that's the fear, right? The fear is like, if I'm taking on this part-time job, is that going to take away from music to the point where I'm not being successful because I'm not putting the time into music? I don't have an answer for that. I just know I got to pay off my family. I gotta live, dude. Because I was in my parents' basement for a long time, and I needed to get out. I just was stuck energetically. I love my parents. I literally was over there all day today, like working from there. Like I work from there one day a week, but like I just needed to be on my own. And like since then, like I've just felt a lot of momentum in my life, not necessarily in my music career. In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. But like really the only thing in my life that's not like progressing well is like my Spotify. That's like the only like metric in my life that isn't improving. And it's like, I could either be miserable about that because that's the one thing I want, or I could just like look around and still enjoy myself. And like, I think I'm making the best music ever that I've made. I think I'm like the healthiest I've been in a long time. I hang out with my friends more. I don't know, dude. So it's like, that's the catch-22 is like, do I feel like I'm putting enough energy in? That's for me to decide. I think there's more that I could definitely go harder. You know what I mean? But
as a marker for life, if the only thing missing is the Spotify numbers, I think the marker for life is pretty fucking good.
You're right, dude. But that's the obsession. That's like where that obsession takes you. Is that like, if that's not doing well, then you're not important, or that you're not loved, or that you can't do this, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do people ask you how many listens do you have? Because I get asked all the time, and it drives me nuts because it's like, if I told you I had 1 million listens, you would listen too. And if I told you I had no listens, you wouldn't listen. And it's purely a fucked thing where it's like the fear of missing out. I might start telling people I have like 100 million listeners and just see I might just make up numbers from now on. Cause I stay away from those numbers because I think, to your point, it doesn't help me. Like whether it's high or low, it doesn't validate me doing better or worse, is what I've realized. Like it's an arbitrary number, and some periods are quiet. Like over Christmas, for example, people listen less because they're with their family, and I'm like,
They should be.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm kind of like, it's just, I don't know. I've tried to stay away from it. It is free because then I don't feel the pressure of us having to do something so performative that I'm catering to this audience. Whereas like, I think the only thing that we owe our audience is for us to be genuine. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's tough, man, because like it's tough to still hold on to the career and not play the game. So yeah, like I look at my stats all the time. I look at my shit all the time. Like if something's blowing up, I look at it all the time. And you know, like when you said earlier, like I'm not necessarily on the other side of it, on the other side of like free from the expectations. Like I'm just trying something different, and I don't know. I don't know what I want, and that's kind of the scary part. Where it's like, and that's where I'm saying it's like you don't see a blueprint. I see a lot of podcasts who make, for lack of a better term, controversial slash performative, provocative clips that just blow up, right? And it's like if you don't, but you don't see the other way around. You don't see like the guy just genuinely doing his thing and then like blowing up. Like sometimes you do, but sometimes you don't. So like that's the scary thing. It's like I don't know.
Yeah, but I see, I just look at that and I'm like, that's not me. Like, I don't want to have that. I want you to enjoy your time on the show. I don't want you to come in and think it's something different. Like, I want people to be looking forward to it, knowing that, hey, it's not gotcha. It's not going to be anything that's going to catch you out or I'm looking for controversy. Hey, if you bring something that's controversial to the show organically, so be it. But
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So I don't know. It depends what you're in it for. Like I just want to enjoy what I do. That's it. As soon as I stop enjoying it, then I probably don't want to do it anymore. And by stop, I mean when I'm just like, I'm over it. Like this just isn't serving the thing that I need. But yeah.
Let me ask you something about your own growth. Not necessarily numbers, but like you've done 200 episodes.
Mm.
Do you feel like you've seen it kind of go like this, like linearly? Has it been pretty linearly, or has it been like up and down and up and down, like with a trajectory up, or just completely up and down, maybe trajectory down? Like what's it been like?
For the most part, it's been steady upward. Like you'll episode to episode goes up and down, but the steady upward growth is definitely there. Podcasting is a simple game that I've always thought about. It's at least one episode a week, same time every week, forever. Yeah. Essentially, that's the industry. It's almost like a TV show. Like you've got 10 episode arc, one episode every week for 10 weeks. That hits. This podcasting is really simple in that sense. And then it's, okay, how do you get better at your craft? How do you get better at communicating? How do you get better at speaking to people? And how do you get better at making people feel comfortable? And the simplest answer is you got to listen more. That's probably the best skill that you'll ever have.
Yeah, I agree. Literally, I mean, I agree. I guess mine doesn't feel like a very up and down. That's kind of the weird thing about it, where it's like I said, like right now, I'm like, in some ways, in socials have been like pretty like it's been kind of like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like massive moments and then like, just kind of plateaus. And like, but Spotify, like I was like up here for a while and then now I'm down here. And then it's like, I was maybe back up here, but it's like, it doesn't feel very linear. That's why I asked. I'm just like,
but do you think that's also with regards to releasing music schedule? That's like, there's so much at play. I think the difference with podcasts, other than, guests being different, is you kind of know what you're going to get from most podcasters on a week-to-week basis. That's why the growth is linear, because the variation isn't as great. Whereas in music, you don't know. It's like a completely different sound, and it does vary a lot. And then the schedule varies a lot. And like, there's all these other things at play. Like when you make a song, it takes months to make a song. Like it takes you so long at least, because your concept, your writing, your recording, you're going back, you've got the stems, all these things, it takes a long time. Whereas like in podcasting, we can record this today and I can release it tomorrow with minimal edits, because that's the long form that we do. So I just think because it is so stable in its art form and it doesn't vary hugely from week to week, it allows for people to be like, oh yeah, this is something I would continue listening to. Whereas
Okay.
like the music and your journey as an artist is very different.
That makes more sense. Yeah.
But you could always take the podcaster's journey and just do the same thing every week, but that would not serve your creativity at all.
Yeah. I actually can't take that journey. Like, I don't have a choice. Like, I have to do what I have to do. That's how I feel. Like, I don't have a choice in what I do. I have to do whatever it is. Like, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't have a choice. Like, I have to go walk around the neighborhood and play chords. Like, or else I would just go insane. Like, I have to like if I'm up late at night and playing my keyboard, like, I have to leave the room and record a voice memo if I like it.
But that's how you know you're doing the right thing. Is like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Like as you spoke about that, the smile on your face was so real and so genuine that it was like, oh, 100% that's what I like.
100%. Yeah. And like I said, I'm going to do it all. I'm going to do it justice. Whatever I do, I'm going to do it. Like, that's how I feel right now. It's like, I'm going to go in on the songs and I will give them the proper promo that they need, but when the time is right. And it doesn't feel time right now.
Yeah. I'm very intrigued to see where your career goes.
Thank you. I think it can go. I really do think that. I don't know if it will. I don't think it's certain, but it also like genuinely might take 10 years. Like, and that's doesn't matter. Like, if I'm like, I can put out music for another 10 years and I might be ready then. Maybe I'm not ready now, but like, I'm not going to stop. You know, but I think it can. I don't know how it will. I don't know when it will, but I think it can.
I think you can too.
Thank you. I really, and I know you're being honest. I really do appreciate that. And I know you've seen a lot of, I have two questions. One, how'd you find me? I assume through Instagram or something like that.
Yeah, I went and through Spotify. I actually went through people who have similar sounds, and if people who are listening to this and then listening to that, and I just went through a rabbit hole. Like I was going through more of like an indie hip hop kind of sound, because I was like, I'm gonna shift a little bit from like traditional hip hop or like trappy hip hop to find like unique hip hop in a way. And so that's when I went through yours, and then I went back and realized, yeah, you're doing some cool shit. I mean, my caveat for people coming on the show is I like your music and I think you're interesting. So
Totally. Thanks. Do you remember who it was that you found that like led it to me?
I think I interviewed Sun Kumar that came out a couple weeks ago. And I remember before I was just listening to his Spotify, and then I was like, oh, when the people who listen to him, who did they also listen to? So I remember going through that rabbit hole, and I think it was like a couple of layers deep. And then I found you, and I was like, fuck yeah, I'm going to hit up Gus.
I'm glad you did. That's really cool.
Yeah. That's the benefit of the internet, though, is like that wouldn't have been done before.
No. I'm not against the internet. I'm like I'm still posting content.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's just like my relationship with it has to change.
Yeah. Yeah. But I genuinely do hope you don't stop music. Like, I do hope that you keep going, and, you know, despite the plateaus and the challenges that it does, and it fucks with your brain and it like tests you in all the weird possible ways, but people do like what you do. Like it is genuine. Like you can feel the energy that people get. And even when I look at your Instagram, or it just feels very wholesome and it feels very good. Some people don't have that energy like come through their creativity, but I think you do. And I think that's a good thing for not only the industry, but for people who listen.
Thank you. You know, and something that I kind of realized just now in you talking to me, it's like, and this isn't to brag or anything. This is just more of just like, to like say like my truth and what I'm experiencing. It's like, I've probably gotten at this point, like I said, my Spotify is like one of the lowest it's ever been like in a long time. But at the same time, I've probably gotten like more personal reach outs about like just how my music affects like people like than ever. And that's like pretty amazing. Like it's every single time it's humbling. And that's really cool to know too. And just like to kind of put those two and two together. It's like, if I can't be happy doing it now when things aren't hot, then I'm not going to be happy when things are hot, you know?
That's a way better marker of success.
Totally. Yeah, it is. And look, it's like, and then it's tough for me to look at that person and say, like, for a long time, dude, I would look at people like that, or like I'd get recognized on the streets and like people would be like, dude, I love your music. I'm like, thanks. And I'm like, but yeah, I'm not making any money. And then like I reflected on that, and I'm like, and I was ungrateful. I was like, yeah, they're recognizing me, but they're not even making money. I was like, but I'm still poor or whatever. And I'm like, dude, I'm just tired of like looking at it like that. Like, I'm tired of looking at someone as like, how am I gonna make money from you? Like, I really don't like. I want it. And it's not set up to be organic. Like before, like when it was the product, like it was very clear that you had to buy the product. Now, when the product's free, it's like, I don't want to be like, I think Lil Russell is doing dope ass shit, and he's like, his whole brand is like, yo, like I can make money anywhere, you know? And he's like, and that to me doesn't resonate with me. And if that's what's going to be the separator of a career or not, then maybe I'm okay with not having a career, but still having fans and still, you know, doing this. I don't know. But it's tough for me to look at a person in the situation of being like, hey, like your music just helped me, and then me be ungrateful because I'm not earning any money from them. It's tough.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't feel good about that.
Yeah.
So that's
I think I agree with you. I think that comes back tenfold later on. I think you earn trust by doing things like that. When it affects people, they're like, you know what? I'm in. Like, yeah. I'm in long term. And I think that's the easiest way, because you'll never know if they buy a ticket to your show or they buy merch or whatever it is. You'll never really know. But your hope is that you do enough of that genuinely, you have enough people who resonate, and then you get paid back long term. And I think that's the only real way to look at it, is instead of like a one-on-one, you didn't make me money. It's like, hey, you fuck with my shit, and I expect that at some point to come tenfold. You might bring other fans, and that's enough. That's tenfold return. So like, it just depends on the mindset of, hey, at least I'm affecting people. At least I know when people listen, it resonates. Most artists will never be able to say that.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't speak for most artists, but you know, that's the careful thing where it's like, I can't be like, all right, I'm gonna give you all this energy, but it better come back. You know what I mean? I can't say that either.
But I believe in the laws of the universe. What you put out, you get in return. So I don't even think you should expect it to come back, but it's just a simple belief of like, if I radiate positivity, if I know that I affect people, I'm probably going to get things in return. And you don't do it for that, but you just trust in the process a little bit. Like, yeah. And I think it's hard. And it's also, the fucked parties were always looking for the immediate return. Like, I released this single. Okay, what's the return on this single? Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Versus 2 years down the line, it might be the biggest thing you've ever done, but it took time to find the people that were listening to it or whatever it might be.
Yeah. I mean, funny enough, I had a video, the same with content. It's like for anybody out there making content, it's like, you might have a video that like doesn't do well immediately, but you post it on another platform 3 months later and it just fucking goes huge. Never know.
No.
I appreciate your belief and your kindness. I really do. And that I'm gonna, as far as like a gem, like, yeah, just like, I don't know, what you just said was a good reminder. Just like, dude, just put out the energy and like give, you know what I mean? Like, think of it as giving. Like, that's like, when I think of it in that way, my priorities change, you know what I mean? Rather than like, because it's very important. It's very important for me to do what I want to do. That is important, but it's also very important for me to give too. So like, that's a good reminder of that.
So you can do both.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
And there are so many people that take in this world. They're obsessed with taking. Their view is, what can I get from you? And when you're the breath of fresh air, where you're the one who's like, let me give you something and not expect anything, that's when I've realized the world is like, I'm going to repay you for all that you give with no expectation. And it may not come in the way that you expect. It may not come in directly Spotify listens or whatever it might be, but I do believe that things come back to you when you do positivity, when there is positivity coming from you. I think we've seen that over time with humanity in general. The good things get amplified. So do the bad. So it's almost your choice of what you want to do.
Totally. Was there any song in particular that resonated with you, or like you remember like the first one that you were like, oh, this is cool?
I mean, the one that probably stands out to most people is A Really Damn Long Day. That was the first thing that I listened to. I know it's probably your most listened to, but I also listened to Skates, and I really like the energy in Skates.
Nice.
As well. So, I find it weird when people like, I only like this one song. I think when I listen to multiple, I actually like your journey as well. It seems like you've gone on a journey of evolution and been like not satisfied with just the one sound. I respect that because I think it's easy. Like you could have, after A Really Damn Long Day, you could have just been like, that's all the music I'm going to make. I'm going to make it exactly like that.
If I wanted to blow up on TikTok and if I wanted more streams, that's what I could have done. Yes.
So why didn't you?
Well, in that specific case, what happened was, first of all, that was the first time anything like that ever happened. Like I had videos blow up, but not about an original song. And first of all, it wasn't even an original song. It was literally just me going on the Beltline in Atlanta, which is like this area that like it's an area with a lot of foot traffic essentially. And I just freestyled and I made up everything on the spot. Everything you've heard in that clip was on the spot and it blew up. And so now I had millions of people, hundreds of thousands of people saying, where's this song? I want this song now. And then I have the music industry like narrative being like, you have to capitalize, pre-save link, capitalize, finish it. And then I finished it and I rushed it and I didn't like the end product and I put it out. I liked it, but I knew it wasn't like, you know, people got demoitis, you know what I mean? Like the way it was recorded live and the way it was in the studio was very different. And I remember like I put it out and I teased it on TikTok and that video got like 70,000 views and everyone was like, where's the echo? Where's the delay? Where's this? And then I just froze. And I hated that feeling. I hated that feeling. I hated the feeling of like being rushed. I hated the pressure. I hated, and there was a lot of fear. There was a lot of fear. I think it's happened multiple times in my journey where it's like, I'll put out a video, it goes viral, or a new type of video or a new series, it goes viral, and then I just don't follow it up because I'm afraid that it's not going to do well again. Or I'm afraid that, the next 5 didn't do well, so the series is over. I'll just stop. And I don't like that.
I'm going to ask you something that might sound weird, but is there a part of you that's scared of the success?
I don't know. I don't know if it's scared of the success. I mean, I think I definitely self-sabotage for sure. And I've gotten that question before, or at least I've thought about it, but I don't know what it is I'm afraid of. I just know it's there. And like, I think that's why I'm not as concerned with timeline, because the internet's always going to be there. Like when I've taken the depth that I want to take in with my music, the internet will be there when I want to share it. And I don't know why I do that. I like those, I don't know if you saw like those pizza conversation videos.
Yeah.
Back to back, they went bananas on TikTok. And I didn't follow it up. I just stopped posting. I just was afraid that the next one wouldn't do as well. And I stopped posting for like a month. I don't know why. So every time I encounter that, my goal is to just do a little better. Because it's gonna happen again. I think it will. And my goal is just to not take it seriously, but not take it as seriously, and just do it a little better.
Yeah. I think it is the pressure also that comes with the success.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know how people do it. It's really hard.
Yeah. Because
Really, really hard.
all of a sudden, because you're free now, and then the success comes and they're like, give me more. I want it right now. They're all like that. They're all like, hey, Gus, hello, Gus. And they're waiting and they're watching and they're like, where the fuck is this? And they get ragey and they get entitled. And hey, I get it. You like something, you want more of it. And then all of a sudden you've got pressure. And then all of a sudden the thing that was organic that you created is no longer organic because you know people want a very specific thing. And I think that's a scary place to be in as an artist, as anyone who's creating content. It's like, oh, fuck. All of a sudden I have people who are like, if you don't give it to me, you're going to lose me. And that is a real shit feeling to have.
Yeah. And I think the thing that I've thought about a lot is that I've always been afraid that the music isn't good enough and that it needs the brand to get out there. And that's why I think I hit a bottom with the lack of depth in both. There was a lack of depth in the brand. There was a lack of depth in the music. And that's why I'm taking a step back and saying the most important thing to me is the music. And I might fail because of that. Because as a brand, I know I can do it. I've proven that to myself over and over again. But as an artist, can I do it if it's just about the music? I don't know.
But you haven't failed now. Like, you're not a failure. This is the weird thing when I talk to you. Like,
yeah.
You're very hard on yourself. But
well, it's tough to not feel like a failure when, like, I know I'm not a failure. Like, I know that, but it's like, it's tough when it's like, it's tough when the dream's been a career and I don't have it.
You have a career. It's just not the career you thought you'd have. Like,
yeah.
So here's the thing. You have a song, one of many songs that have 2 million streams on Spotify. Let me just say now, you have a song out there that has 2 million streams. You also have another song that has 1.5 million streams, and you have other songs that are pushing millions of streams. Now, artists would kill to be in that position. You're successful, my friend. You're just not what you have is what I struggle with, which is like, you've ticked boxes along the journey of your career thus far that you've been able to say, I've hit this, awesome. I've hit this, awesome. I've hit this. And now you're at a point where the goals are so lofty that because they're hard to get to, you're saying, well, my career is not where I want it to be, which can be true, but also you are successful and you are doing a good job and you are really in a place where a lot of people would kill to be in. So I think that perspective is important for you because I think it will help you take away a little bit of the like imposter syndrome, a little bit of the fear of failure because you haven't failed. Like, you're doing a good job and you have been doing a good job for a long time. You're just in a weird place. And I can see that in you at the moment. You're like trying to navigate it all, but you're doing a good job. Like, you are a successful artist. It may not feel like that all the time, but you are.
I feel like I just totally exposed my black and white thinking. Like, dude, like and that's me. Like, you know, I appreciate you getting that out of me. I'm like embarrassed that it came out of me, but like, you got it. Like, I feel so comfortable with you that like sometimes like it goes in waves, dude. It goes in waves. And that isn't to say that I'm not grateful. That is to say that like I said, like about just the connections I've had with people through this, but it's like That's where the thinking goes. Like that's why I've been distancing myself from it, because I don't want to be ungrateful for the things that I've done and the things that I've been able to do.
Yeah, I think you're tough on yourself.
I know.
Which has helped you get to where you are. So it's like it is very much like one of the reasons you are where you are is because you've been hard on yourself. And sometimes we're so hard on ourselves that we forget what it's like to be kind to ourselves. And I think you probably just need to also be kind to yourself, and that's a piece. But I've felt that way, and I feel that way constantly. I feel that way in my corporate career. There's so many times where I thought to myself, if only I made X amount of money, I would be happy. And I made X amount of money, and then I'm like, I want more, and I want the next thing, and I'm not good enough because I start comparing myself to the next version or the next thing. Same with the podcast, same with everything else. You just compare yourself to the next level up, and you forget how far you've come.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, that's not a good answer, but
no,
that's not a good response.
It is a good response. You let it sit.
It's been a journey. That was a big part of like one of the takeaways was that like I'd never have been kind to myself. It's kind of like a practice. Like, okay, I've never been kind to myself before. Like I'm gonna probably be bad at it for a while. So I appreciate that reminder.
Yeah. It takes sometimes others being kind to you to realize that you're deserving of that.
Which is, it's just a reminder. It's all about practice, and like it's all about just bringing it back to whatever the thing you're supposed to focus on is. Like that's like, I'm a big meditator, and like that's all that is. It's just like, oh, you've lost your breath, bring it back to the breath. That is the practice. So I appreciate that, man. I appreciate the reminder. I didn't expect that.
Neither did I.
I know, dude. Oh well.
Hey, well, that's how you know it's supposed to be. That's how you know you're supposed to do this. Sometimes it just takes someone else who isn't living in your life. I'm in a country far, far away. This is the first conversation you and I have properly had. And sometimes it takes someone who's so far away from you to be able to call it out. Because when people who are close to you call it out, you're like, yeah, whatever. Because you know
there's a million times. I get this.
But when it's someone else who doesn't really know you and then they call it out, you're like, oh, no, this feels different.
It does. You need to stop being a piece of shit.
That type of feedback is also helpful to some people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, it is. It all of it's helpful.
Yeah.
All of it's helpful. What are you looking forward to?
What am I looking forward to? I don't know. I think I'm just looking forward to the possibility of what happens next. I used to try and have a formulated plan. I think I've come back with less of a plan. And I'm kind of just taking it day by day. Like I'm looking forward to, I don't know. I just think I'm hopeful. I think the world is in a weird place. Emotionally, mentally, I'm looking forward to a place where hopefully one day we can turn around and just take a breath in, like breathe out and kind of chill out. Because I don't know, that's what I'm looking forward to. But for myself, honestly, I'm looking forward to the weekend. I'm looking forward to taking a break. I'm looking forward to seeing my friends, my family, all those things. It is end of quarter, so it is the time of
That's right.
of year.
Q3 is wrapping up.
Literally. All those sales memes and that I see, like, oh my God, that is my life. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to the quarter being finished, because these next 2 weeks, they are nightmarish. And I've told my girlfriend many times, there is something about the anxiety that makes you feel very alive in this industry where you're anxious, you've sent out contracts, you're waiting, and you're like fucking white knuckling it till the end. And then you get it and you're like, the relief that you receive is so great. It's not even jubilation, it's relief. That's how I sold. Yeah, I never got the jubilation. I was like relieved that I got
That's
it.
a great word.
Yeah. So
jubilation.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to, being able to take a breath after the manic run that we're about to go through. My team is very much like feeling a bit of the pressure. I told them yesterday, I'm like, now's the time. No excuses. Let's fucking go. Like, we're in a position to do a great job.
Start doing coke in the bathroom.
Whatever they have to do, don't tell me about it.
Do.
Yeah. What if you're at home and you're doing coke? So be it. So in case my employer watches this, in case my employer watches this, that is not how I manage my team. But
yes,
for the purposes of this podcast, fucking go do
it. Hey man, look, what you say in your podcast, that is your domain.
Well, it is hyperbole and it is entertainment. So whatever we say here can't be held accountable to us because we're not saying anything serious other than the conversation we've already had. What are you looking forward to?
Dude, I'm looking forward to... Ooh, actually funny, like, okay, two things. One, like, I have like the songs that I'm creating, I'm like really excited about, like beyond excited. But I get into that place of like, fuck, like I'm like afraid it's not gonna do well, so I like don't work on it. You know what I mean? It's like I'm excited to use this song as an opportunity to practice pushing through that. That's what I've decided this song is to be. It may not be what I think it can be. It may not be. It may be greater. It may be worse. It doesn't really matter. But like I'm excited to practice that with this piece of art. And then I'm also looking forward to my friend's 30th birthday. He texted me earlier today. And he was like, John Fushi. I don't know if you've seen him on my Instagram. He's a big blonde guy, plays guitar. Yeah. Fire, absolute fire. He's turning 30, and I'm very excited for his outing.
That sounds awesome.
Yes.
You can let him know.
Little pieces, and we're going to send him out to sea.
Yeah, you can let him know that once you turn 30, your back starts to go. I always say to my girlfriend, because she's in her 20s, I always say, you're into old guys.
How old is she?
She's 26.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, which is fine. I just like to be dramatic. And I'm like, yeah, you're into...
and check.
I'm like, maybe you can go do that, but I'm an old man now, so I can't do that.
Papa.
Yeah. And she's like, you're not old. And I'm like, well, maybe it's just I want to keep hearing people tell me I'm not old. So I kind of bait it a little bit. So I'm like, yeah.
You're just a little fisherman. Fishing. Yeah. No, it's crazy that he's 30. He's like one of my first like friends turning 30. So that's cool.
Yeah. And then next thing you know, you're going to be 30 and I'm going to be 35. And you're going to be back. We're going to be here.
When's your birthday?
January 5th.
January 5th.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. New Year's baby.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, but I've looked like this for a long time. I've looked like this since I was like 16. Everyone's thought I've been 30 for forever.
You've been 30 for 15 years.
Yeah. I think I was born as an old man. I think my mom said to me when I was born in the hospital, they said I look like an old man. So I've always thought my demeanor can really suit retirement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna be a wise grandpa.
Yeah. I'm also gonna, one of my friends, he's like a cranky guy. Everything gets under his skin. I'm like, I can't wait till we're old and you're like fucking so angry and I'm laughing at you the whole time because everything riles you up. Like he's definitely gonna be a guy who like yells at kids for being too loud on the street.
Dude, getting old is not easy.
No.
You ever see it? Looks horrifying.
Yeah. Well, I talked to my babushka and she's like, she does not love being old. But yeah, I've only got one more question for you, man. And
I know my answer.
Well, you've come prepared.
Damn right.
I love that you've come prepared. Most people don't come prepared, or maybe they're performative. Who knows? But I love that you know your answer. But I'll just ask it anyway, so people know what the fuck we're talking about.
Of course.
If you had to recommend one album that everyone had to listen to at least once to get an appreciation of, can be any genre of music, cannot be your own music, what would it be?
Okay, my only caveat to this question is, can it be a compilation?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank God.
I mean, no.
Oh, it can't be about. It can't be. A
no, it can. It can. I'm just fucking with you.
Oh, fuck, dude, you have to listen to this album. Okay, it's called It's called World Psychedelics Classics 4.
Okay, I'm gonna write it down.
Yeah. This album is unbelievable vibe. World Psychedelic Classics 4.
Okay.
The existential, yeah, fuck it, how do you say it? The existential soul of Tim Maya, Maia, semicolon, yes, nobody can live forever.
Yeah. Okay, done.
Now, I want you to text me after you listen to this.
Okay, I will.
Because I love that album. What's your answer? I don't even know your answer.
I've never answered the show. The answer.
No way.
Yeah. That's what happens when you run a podcast, is you get to make up the rules.
So you're never going to?
No, I don't think I will. Maybe on my last episode. Whenever that might be. If you start a podcast and you invite me to your show, maybe I'll answer it.
I thought about starting a podcast. Not yet. Like I said, when it's time to be that, it's time to be that.
Well, I mean, Joe Budden went from music to podcast, and hey, he's doing a great job.
He is, but no one listens to his music.
But that being said, they did.
That's true. I actually don't know that. I don't know what his music career was like.
His music career was pretty good. His music career was good. Like Joe Budden.
I've never heard a Joe Budden song.
I mean, you've heard Pump It Up.
Pump it up. Pump the jam.
This one.
Oh. Copyright. I don't hear it.
He's got some bangers.
Really?
Yeah, that has 84 million streams, that song.
I mean, yeah, and that was also probably released in like the early 2000s.
2003, yeah.
So, I mean, having 84 million streams in 2024 is pretty good.
So, and he hasn't released like solo music for a while, but he was part of Slaughterhouse with Royce da 5'9", King Crooked, Joel Ortiz. Like, he genuinely can rap. He just moved away from rapping. Like, he was good. He was genuinely good. He had a genuine music career. It's just like he hasn't made music for a long time.
I know Royce is one of your favorites.
He is. He's up there. He definitely is up there. Although he's kind of fallen off lately in terms of like, but I give him a pass. Like I loved his early shit, and then he's gone in his own direction. I'm kind of like, fair enough. You do you. I just haven't loved everything he's done. But
I can't believe you haven't answered that question. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, it's all. I don't know if I have an answer or not. I've thought about multiple albums. There's some that I'm like, are just like a little bit too classic and corny that everyone says, and then there are other ones that are unique and random. So I'm kind of like, the weird thing about that question is that it's not designed to hold in time forever. Like, you can come back next year and have a different answer to that question. That's how it's supposed to be. It's like you could have heaps of answers. But yeah, I don't know. There's a couple that come to mind. They're all like classic hip hop kind of gangster shit. Yeah.
It's fair.
But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming through. I appreciate your openness, your honesty, your willingness to talk and kind of just let it all out there. And yeah, I do hope that you continue being kind to yourself. I do hope you keep releasing the music that you have been. It's really great to see. Like, genuinely, the space is better for people like you being in it. And obviously there are people who are resonating, myself included, with what you're doing. So yeah, man, it may seem like a weird place, but like, I think that's just part of being an artist, but you're doing a great job. And as we said at the top of the show, Skates is out. Go listen to it.
Skates is out. Gus Glasser, fucking go listen to the music. If you want, follow on the socials. Fucking Andrew Berkovich, the Hip Hop Hustle podcast.
Aaron.
He's a wonderful interviewer. Seems like a great guy. Who knows? We could both just be shitty people performing well on camera.
I think it could be the case. It's hard to do that for a long time, an hour and a half.
I was about to say 200 episodes, you get to know somebody pretty well.
Yeah. Well, they get to know me, whether they like me or not. Yeah, follow the show. And I'm going to leave it with this. All I can do is my best. And that's words from Gus Glasser, his other single. All we're doing is our best. So yeah, if you love us, show some love. If you don't, you can stay quiet. But either way, man, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I can't wait to see what you do next.
Thanks, man. We'll do this again. Even if it's not on camera, we'll do this again. For sure.
Awesome. Well, hopefully I get to come to Atlanta at some point and we can hang out in person, or you come to Australia.
Have you been to the States?
I have been. I went to New York.
Right, you were just in New York.
Yeah, I was just in New York. And I think I'm heading to Vegas or an LA in late Jan for work.
Okay.
So I'll be there again. I feel like that's all I do these days is go to the States at the moment. So
Great place.
Hey, it could definitely be worse.
Look, I gotta come out here. I don't know when I'm gonna freaking go out your way.
You just got to commit. You got to commit to the flight.
I gotta. You know, I'm not worried about the flight. I mean, I've been to South Africa. It's like you know, similar time.
Yeah.
But really, the money.
Come out, man. Yeah, the money. It's not great. It is spenny. But the US dollar is significantly better here, so your conversion rate is out of this world good.
That's true.
Yeah, and also summer's coming up. So it's going to be winter for you, summer for us. So it's a perfect time.
We'll see. It's not in the books. It's not. We'll see. I cannot afford it right now.
Well, for people who are listening, support Gus so he can come to Australia. Support him. Show some love. Make sure you let him know. Be kind. Yeah, I think we all need a bit of kindness at the moment. So yeah. I appreciate you, my friend. As we said, we're definitely going to do this again. You might have to be a show regular where you just keep coming back. We just talk about random shit.
Dude, I'm down. Wait, before you go, obviously we should talk about, let me email you the stuff, the audio.
Yeah. Let me stop recording.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.